Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on a Thursday night. Hope everybody is enjoying themselves this evening. Keeping tabs on a couple of different things. Titans roster moves, shuffling around. No new news. As of today, there's also a lot of different situations to continue to consider, which is basically what the general manager and the front office are tasked with doing right now. So we're going to talk about who potentially is up next and where Derrick Henry falls in the middle of all this. We'll talk about Bud Dupree more specifically, given that his name is most associated with savings, although there's a couple of different conversations around Bud that I think do need to be had. It's a Thursday. It's our last show of the week, so we'll do a weekend bounce back and we'll enjoy ourselves with that because there's some funny stuff with Aaron Rodgers that we have to point and laugh out before we can head into our weekend. Another great show that I know we're going to have together, and happy to have you guys here for it. Before we get started, would always love if more of your friends would hang out with us. Retweet the show if you're on Twitter with us in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. If you're on Facebook Live, you can share now to public. That's how your Facebook friends get in on the action. If you are on YouTube or Twitch, like Chill Mode or Brock Kraft, like the video, subscribe to the channel, maybe tell a friend to do the same if you've already done it. All these different things that can potentially, invite more people to engage in more conversation about the Tennessee Titans and specifically this evening, Derrick Henry. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and get this thing started. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Superbook Sports Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising. I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. GaryAshton.com is where you go for your dream address without the stress. Get the intel edge you need to succeed at GaryAshton.com. Superbook Sports. Download the Superbook app today and get in on all the action, whether it's football, XFL, the NBA, or anything in between. Superbook will always get you the best odds boost and promo bets. TrueMath Fitness. Download the TrueMath Fitness app or go to the MindBody app and sign up for your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. TrueMathFitness.com is where you go for a new way to work out and a better way to achieve your fitness goals. So, Derrick Henry's future with all of this is not not set in stone right now. Now, I'm not here to do I think the Titans should cut Derrick Henry show. I think that Austin and Zach, in fact, I watched a little bit of their show from a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, about how they feel on the Titans moving on from Derrick Henry, and both seem to be in favor of it with the way that they seem to articulate that. I still think that Derrick Henry has plenty of value here, but there needs to be measures taken to do it at a more affordable price tag because you cannot roll into 2023 with a running back with a $16 million and change cap hit right now. Derrick accounts for more than 7% of the Titans cap. A running back simply cannot be that at this stage of the game. He is, he was getting close to career highs in receiving last year. If not, he may have achieved his career high in receiving last year, as a matter of fact. So, the versatility knock is not necessarily something you can use against him. But at this stage of the game, Derrick needs to be more of a cog than the primary engine that the Titans offense runs through. Now, they have options on the table for Derrick. They have options on the table for Tannehill. They even have options on the table for somebody like Bud Dupree, who has not yet been released. So I think that when you look at the circumstances for the Titans, they only have $12 million in cap space after clearing over $36 million of contract, right? They were 26 in the hole. So they have just now gotten back to a space where really they've got about $8 million in actual cap space when you consider the different things that there will have to be portions of their salary cap allotted to. Rookie deals, and the practice squad pool, money to sign free agents throughout the course of the season. They have to budget this thing correctly. So really, they've only got about $8 million right now after all of the work that they've already done. So they still need to get some stuff done. And Derrick Henry should be a prime candidate for something moving forward, whether it be a release, whether it be a restructure. There are a variety of different options that they can explore. So we're going to go through some figures on Derrick here in just a second. right after I remind you that the Two Rivers Ford take, well, I suppose I should ask you your Two Rivers Ford take before I remind you who presents the Two Rivers Ford take. The question this evening for you: how should the Titans handle Derrick Henry's contract situation right now? If you want the details, if you don't know them off the top of your head, that's okay. I've got you covered. But how should the Titans handle Derrick Henry's future and his contract situation, being that he is in the last year of his deal? We will discuss at length together right after I remind you that the Two Rivers Ford take is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford always sells all new non-specialty Ford vehicles below MSRP, and they will always go above and beyond to make sure that you enjoy the car buying process. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. So, looking at the situation for the Tennessee Titans and specifically for Derrick Henry's contract. So you know what it is for the Titans. They have $8 million in effective cap space right now. It's definitely better than where they were. They were the fifth worst cap strap team in football. Right now, they've done a lot more big name releases than any other team other than, the Raiders with Derek Carr at this point. But the Titans still have not done enough to get themselves in a better position to compete this year, if that's in fact what they intend to do. And that's what the messaging has been. So Derrick Henry's contract is structured this way. He has $10.5 million in base salary. He's got a bonus, a roster bonus. He's got two different bonuses. He's got a prorated bonus of $5.3 million and an additional bonus of $500,000. He has a total cap hit of $16.36 million right now. It's 7.1% of their total salary cap. Now, if they cut Derrick, they will have to eat some dead money, but they will save $6.26 million if they release him pre-June 1st. There is a designation that would allow them to save $11 million if they release Derrick post-June 1st. If they trade Derrick Henry, they'll still be on the hook for some money, but they will have to, the other team will assume the $10.5 million in base salary if you trade Derrick Henry in the final year of his deal. Now, there's also options on the table to restructure. You can restructure Derrick's contract. They will put themselves in a better position if they have Derrick Henry on the roster and bring the money, bring the cap hit on him down at this stage. There's a lot of smart ways that they can do this that don't mean that Derrick Henry is done by, as a Titan at this point. I would be shocked if that was the case, but, there's always going to be something in any given offseason. And I'm not alluding specifically to Derrick. I'm just saying there's always one thing in every NFL offseason where you look around and you say, what the bleep happened here? How could they possibly have done this? Whether it's trading A.J. Brown, whether it's trading Jarrell Casey was a big one for a lot of you guys. This is common in the NFL and becoming more and more common every day. Thomas Lawrence said, why would you trade Derrick? That new GM is in question. Well, no, I'm not saying I have no idea what Rand Carthon wants to do with Derrick Henry. Why would you trade Derrick Henry? Because Derrick Henry is a 29-year-old running back with a ton of mileage on him who's still playing high-level football. And all the high-level football that Derrick Henry played still amounted to 7 straight losses. You got to be realistic about your money and what is the best allocation of resources to help you win football games right now. I'm not saying that Derrick's not a part of that. I'm just saying that Derrick is 29, and at some point, if you get an offer that allows you to sell high, you have to at least consider it, right? Now, all this could be a roundabout discussion, and you could say Derrick Henry will play out 2023 with a $16 million cap hit and, in the last year of his deal, and maybe the Titans extend him. That's also on the table. It would be the worst potential option because he cannot account for 7% of the cap, more than 7% of the cap when they have so many other needs around him. And listen, you guys are going to get passionate about this. I understand. Thing that I ask you, I don't care if you're butthurt about the idea that we're even talking about this around Derrick Henry. It really doesn't bother me one bit. I would say that these are all options that are being discussed internally. If you're not mature enough to handle them, I don't know what to tell you. But you can't get all bent out of shape. You're like, they're not trading my favorite player. I don't know why I made my mentions sound like that. I apologize. I don't know I don't know what any of you sound like, to be completely honest. I barely know what I sound like half the time, although I hear my voice more and more, and it sounds more grating every day. But I will say to you that, I'm not interested. I'm really not interested in getting into a bunch of whining because I've even bothered to mention the name Derrick Henry, because we're going to talk about Bud Dupree too. But Derrick's contract is fascinating at this point, and they have to have options on the table. I think Stephen King says you matched my voice perfectly, Buck. Chad Phillips says cut Buck off the team. Yeah, you wouldn't save enough money, honestly, Chad. Although, it is a contract year for your boy, so maybe they sell low on my contract at A to Z Sports and 104.5 The Zone. It is also Derrick Henry is in his contract year. Ryan Tannehill is in his contract year, and I am in my contract year. So one of these things is not like the other. Anyway, so Derrick Henry was asked about his situation by SiriusXM at Super Bowl Radio Row last week, 2 weeks ago. It's been damn near 2 weeks since the Super Bowl. Either way, Derrick Henry was asked about his future, given that there's a new GM. This was his response.
What do you see for your team? Obviously, you've got a new GM, and Rand Carthon comes in, and just the direction of where the Tennessee Titans will be moving forward here.
Yeah, I'm excited. Rand coming in and taking over and bringing that enthusiasm and that the success that he had at the 49ers organization, and learning for those guys over there. And they have great quality players, guys who play full tilt on all three phases. And hopefully we can find some guys in the draft that can come do the same thing and get some guys in free agency. But I'm always excited for a new journey. This year was tough. It's always tough when when you have a lot of injuries. We saw that with San Fran in the NFC Championship game. When guys go down, it's hard to replace them. So, just excited for a new year, and embracing the journey. Excited to see what Rand does, and excited what we have in store for the organization for the year.
So that is Derrick Henry talking on SiriusXM. Sorry if I'm distracted. I just got a text about a Titans release that I was not expecting, and I just want to make sure that I clarify. Okay. Head on a swivel season, kids. We'll see. We'll see if there's any news at some point tomorrow. I think that's entirely possible. Okay. Keep an eye out. So with Derrick Henry, we'll see what happens. I think that there's a lot of different options on the table. They may decide to do nothing and work around Derrick Henry's contract and not want to, jostle him, because he is the most important thing that they have had in the last couple of years. But at some point they need to evolve, and he needs to be a more complementary piece than he is a featured piece at some point. You guys are freaking out. Why do us like that, Buck? Who's going to cut? Well, listen, no, I got a text. I want to clarify. I don't want to be reckless, but maybe there's news. Maybe there's not. I sent a text. If I get a response during the show, maybe we'll break it here. Probably not, because Austin and Zach would kill me if I didn't put it in a website article. But you work with what you got. Anyway, thinking about this situation, I think that I would be shocked to see Derrick Henry not on this roster next year. But they have to find different options on the table. They have to find any and all available options, because the money right now is tight and they need a lot of help. So let's talk about Bud Dupree and get into a situation where they can find different players they can find different savings from players who they are trying to figure out different ways if they can make them work on the roster. Bud Dupree is an example of that. Clearly, they want to figure out a way that makes sense to keep Bud Dupree on the roster. They can also cut Bud and save about $9 million at this point, a little over $9 million if they so choose. Now, in Bud Dupree's circumstance, I think that there are a couple of different reasons to keep him and a couple of different reasons to cut him. We'll go through those together. The question that I would ask you on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch: cut, keep, or restructure Titans offensive linebacker or offensive linebacker, outside linebacker. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. I feel like I'm like, I don't know. It's been a long, long day and I've had about 4 hours of sleep. I don't know why I couldn't sleep last night, but if I'm making no sense, that's why. Forgive me. Cut, keep, or restructure. Titans outside linebacker, Bud Dupree, not offensive linebacker. That would not be correct. So with the situation for Bud's contract looks like this, and we'll walk you through the details of it just so you can have a better picture of what it means for the Titans at this point. He has a cap hit of $20.2 million. It's obviously absurd. It's the biggest cap hit on the 5-year deal that he signed with the Titans back in 2021. He was accounting against the cap for 19.2 last year. He will count against the cap for 19.2 next year and has zero guaranteed money left on his deal after this season. If they cut him today, it saves $9.35 million. $9.35 million is substantial savings right now. If they cut him after June 1st, which, I mean, theoretically they could do if they addressed the position in the draft at this point. They'll also have free agency. There would be savings of $15.75 million. But again, you would not get that money until after June 1st, and that's when the big spending obviously has already occurred. So with Bud, he makes a difference when he's out there on the field. The problem is he's missed 12 games total of the 34 possible games that he has been able to play for the Tennessee Titans. 17 games in his first year, 17 games in his second year. He has played in only 11 games in those 2 seasons. And he hasn't played 11 full games because we know he's gotten hurt in several of them, had to be pulled from several of them. It's a circumstance that I think, when you look around and you see what Bud gives you versus how little Bud is actually out there, it's problematic, but they don't have an edge rushing solution. It's tough for them to move on from this guy right now, even as Harold will be back, and Harold will be as close to full health as humanly possible because he didn't play a snap last season, right? He got hurt before the season actually began. So theoretically, he should be more than ready for training camp and has to, of course, go through all the things to test out his knee and play games. But, Harold should be back at least to some marginal version of himself. Now, whether a marginal version of Harold Landry is enough to make up for cutting Bud Dupree is a different conversation. Because I think Bud makes a difference. Bud helps create for the other. It's like Danico Autry. Danico Autry is more of a gritty role player in this way, but still gets production on himself, still is able to create for players around him. Bud Dupree does that as well. So it's a really, really good asset to have if your pass rush is rolling like it's supposed to. Problem is they haven't been able to keep all these guys out there, and particularly Bud is as big a problem as any. Now, when you talk about rebuilding, there's a couple of different things that would signal to me a rebuild. If they cut Bud Dupree outright, that would, to me, would signal rebuild for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's more moves that are going to come, especially at the quarterback position when I look at Ryan Tannehill. And, yes, Ryan Tannehill has done a great job of handing the football off to Derrick Henry. A great job at doing that. But when you look at the 5 playoff games that he's been a part of, only been throwing the ball for, 150-something yards, 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. They need to get more out of the position. And then you look at Malik Willis when he got in last year, the guy threw the ball for 35 yards a game. You know what I mean? They have to get more out of the quarterback position. And then you look at the AFC South, it's just there for the taking. And so I believe Rand Carthon, he's going to clear everything. He's going to press reset, and it's going to start with a new quarterback.
So a new quarterback is a different discussion, right? But Bud Dupree, moving on from that contract would signal, we don't like the deals that John Robinson did. Get that one off the books. Let's just try and start over with new players. You could cut Tannehill as well. Tannehill has not been a part of our discussion tonight, but obviously Tannehill has $18 million in savings and has a situation where it can be $27 million in savings if they get him out after June 1. So there's a lot of different things that they can do here. Bud Dupree is a big chunk of it. I think the argument could be made in both directions. Cut him or restructure him. You can't keep him at that number right now. So let's move on. And Jay Street says $37 million post June 1st. No, it's not $37 million. It is $27 million. I can give you the exact figure if you would like it. If you would just give me a moment, I will pull it up on over the cap. Ryan Tannehill's savings are $27 million flat if he is released post June 1st. The dead money drops from $18.8 million to $9.6 million, $27 million in total savings. Thank you for your contribution. Anyway, so weekend bounce back. Who in sports needs to bounce back? I think it may be me because I am, basically, I don't know. I feel completely out of it tonight, and I don't know why that just hit me like a ton of bricks. But either way, weekend bounce back. Who needs to bounce back in sports this week? Let's talk about it together right after I remind you that the Primetime Show is presented by TrueMav Fitness. Get your fitness goals accomplished. Get your journey started. It's the hardest thing to do to get started, but once you do, I assure you, you will feel so much better. You will feel that that level of excitement of what it is to go and get your workout in every day. I am not somebody who ever enjoyed working out, truly, but that has changed since I have seen the tangible progress that TrueMav Fitness has made for me. They can do the same for you. They've got all kinds of membership options, and they will even let you try their classes for free. As a Middle Tennessee resident, go to TrueMathFitness.com for more information. So, as we look at the situation, Chad Phillips says, Buck, you need a beer. No, I think that would make things substantially worse. I'm already like, I don't know, I just got like lightheaded and like super delirious all of a sudden. So I don't think alcohol would help that situation. We just need to land the plane on the Primetime Show and need to go take a nap. With weekend bounce back, who needs to bounce back in sports this week? Give me your response on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. I think the options are varied out there right now, but Aaron Rodgers is where I would turn my attention to. He is come out of his darkness retreat in Oregon. He is somebody who is, held the NFL offseason hostage yet again for the third straight season. It is entirely likely that he ends up going back to the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers' ego, I don't think it needs a bounce back. It seems to be very, very much intact. But the rest of us who have to suffer through all of Aaron Rodgers' shenanigans throughout the course of the offseason just to see him go back to the Packers again, it would be ideal if Aaron Rodgers would just kind of, let us all be for a little while. Although I've got 3 hours of sports talk radio, 2 podcasts, and a streaming show to do on a regular basis. So more content, baby. Keep it coming, Aaron. Maybe take another trip. Noji Pierre says, Ben DiNucci and the Seattle Sea Dragons in the XFL need a bounce back. I didn't watch a snap of that. I probably won't, to be honest with you. But I think that everything that I've heard from Paxton Lynch getting benched in yet another professional football league probably could use a bounce back. I know producer Robert was very much in tune with that this weekend. I'm tired of all these wore out players that give us no effort, says Eric. I don't know what he's talking about there. Chad Phillips says, do we still have Dobbs? No, for the 1,000th time. He is an unrestricted free agent on your roster, or no longer on your roster. Jody Newell says, drama queen, stay in Green Bay. Well, with the American flag bald eagle picture, I don't know why I picture the eagle saying that. The eagle calling Aaron Rodgers a drama queen and saying stay in Green Bay. Maybe that's just the delirium that's setting in. Hooligan says Kyrie Irving needs to bounce back in sports. I'll be honest, I haven't paid attention to much Kyrie since he got traded to the Mavs. I don't know how it's going in Dallas with him and Luka right now, but I think that I was certainly intrigued by the trade, but apparently not intrigued enough to actually watch the basketball games. Although I do have the Grizzlies game on right now, and it's good to see them handling themselves against Philadelphia. Let's see. Noji says Taylor Lewan needs to bounce back. I don't know. I think Taylor's got a pretty soft landing. I think he's going to be okay. Patrick Bird says, what's the numbers on Amani Hooker? Well, he's only in the second. Well, no, he's not even in the second year of his deal. Well, I guess it was an extension. So the first year of the new extension starts this season, and the money goes up on him. MB says Eric Bieniemy needs a bounce back. I don't know. It seems like Ron Rivera understood the situation, and Washington did a lot to put him in position to have the best chance at a head coaching job. next time the cycle comes around. He is an assistant head coach now in Washington. He's got full control over his offensive staff, which is pretty huge. They've done a lot to help Eric Bieniemy realize his ultimate goal. And, obviously Washington's still benefiting from somebody who is regarded as who is well regarded as an offensive coordinator in the league right now. All right. It's going to do it for us tonight. I think we've successfully done the primetime show. Maybe not our finest, maybe not our crispest. So I apologize for that. But always enjoy spending the week with you guys. Thank you for your time. We will be up in Indianapolis on Tuesday through Thursday night for the primetime show. I will be in Indy also on Friday, but obviously no primetime. We'll do the radio show up there Tuesday through Friday. So that'll be a great time. We're going to have Rand Carthon on. We're probably going to have Mike Vrabel on. We'll work to get a lot of different people who will be at the Combine on throughout the course of the week, and it'll be great work. We'll preview that with you on Sunday night on the primetime show. Mike Giannitti, who runs SpotTrack.com, he'll be on the radio show, as will Coach Mack tomorrow. So make sure you're listening from 10 to 1 on 104.5 The Zone. Meanwhile, head on a swivel. As I said earlier, we'll keep you updated as news becomes available. And, maybe a red alert. It was just a very, very interesting message that I got in the middle of the primetime show, and I felt that you guys should at least be made aware of the possibility that something may happen in the coming days. Meanwhile, I will talk to you guys Sunday night if I don't see you on the radio show tomorrow. Have a great weekend.
Are you surprised to hear that?
Certainly not. The first year we took it to the limit. And I was in Miami with my new beach house. Well, it was a couple minutes from the beach.
It's been 20 years since then. We haven't been too strong in the last few years.
Oh, we've been strong. We're just playing by the rules. You can't have a newcomer come in and steal a show.